Kalkalosh, we're just going to continue with Daf Ayin Aleph. So we're on 71A1. We just had to recap just to understand. Again, Rava brought a case on the previous stuff, just on the bottom, to understand. He said, what happens if a person did reaping and grinding like a dried fig? And what happened was he did it twice on Shabbat. The first time around when he did it on Shabbat is that he forgot it was Shabbat, but he knew that he was doing a melacha. And he knew that these melachot were prohibited on Shabbat. Then again, he did the same reaping and grinding, right, with the size of the dried fig. But this time the opposite way around. He knew it was Shabbat, but he forgot that it was a melacha to do on Shabbat. Then afterwards, he was notified, right? He was notified that it was on the Shabbat, on the fact that he forgot that it was Shabbat and he did it on the melachot. And then the other way around. Then he was notified also the other way around, that he did the purpose of Shabbat and he forgot it was melachot. So what's halacha in such a case? So the Gemara starts on Ayin Aleph Amud Aleph saying, Ketzira goreret ketzira, which means the first grinding, right? The first reaping causes the second reaping, right? And the first tchina, the first grinding, causes the second grinding. And therefore, all of them are going to be being done a kapara with one chatat. However, though, aval nodalo al ketzira shel zedon Shabbat shel gam melachot. Right? However, though, if he found out about the second ketzira, okay, and then it says over here, in such a case where he found out, right? So then what's going to happen is that the second ketzira causes the first ketzira and tchina with it, which means that it's going to be the same korban. So the first ketzira is going to be mitkaperet with the second ketzira, right? Because you did both of them behelem echad. Okay, so it's like, for example, somebody that's going to eat 2 kizete chelev in one shot. If a person didn't know that you're not allowed to eat prohibited fats, and you come, or he didn't know it was prohibited fats, he eats 1 kazait and then another kazait. You only have 1 korban, right? There are 2 kazatim. Each kazait is an avera. Yeah, but you didn't know about it in between. So therefore, it's like 1 shot, so it's 1 korban. Okay, so the same thing, the first tchina is going to be mitkaperet with them, because even though the chatat was not separated for the ketzira or for the tchina, he just says that they're both combined. Okay, tchina shekenegda, however, though you still have 1 tchina separate, in koma omedet. It stays without the kapara, and therefore you need a korban for it. So it comes out that it's very interesting. It's not that you're going to be chayav 4 korbanot, 2 korbanot for ketzira, for reaping, and 2 korbanot for tchina. 1 korban will atone, will be a kapara for ketzira with ketzira and the tchina, and there's only 1 tchina by itself. So therefore 1 grinding by itself. So you need 2 different korbanot. 1 korbanot atoning for 3, for ketzira with the other ketzira and tchina, and then 1 just for the tchina by itself. Okay, Abaye argues, Abaye amar, tchina nami goreret tchina, sheshen tchina achati. The name tchina, also grinding, causes the other grinding, because at the end of the day, it's the same grinding. So therefore, right, so since it's the same grinding, right, they're both of them going to be mitkaper with 1 korban. Okay? So therefore, it's going to come out that even the first tchina is going to be part of the korban because it was drawn forth because of it. So it comes out 1 korban is going to be a kapara for both. The ketzira because of the ketzira and the tchina because of the tchina. So ask the Gemara, umit le Rava greira? Does Rava bichlal even hold of greira? Right? So because the first part was Rava, Rava says, and this is greira. What is greira? This ketzira is going to cause the other ketzira, and this tchina is going to not cause, it's goreret. It's like it draws forth with it. Meaning, you right, it's like mitzvah, goreret, mitzvah, one causes another. That's why I just translated it as causes. It's not really causing, it's like it draws it towards it. So does Rava Bichlal hold of the concept that 1 ketzira could draw forth another ketzira, and the same thing with tchina? The Itmar was written, if a person ate 2 kazaits of chelev in 1 shot, and you found out about one of them, and then you went and you ate the other kazait. This is now the 3rd kazait, right? Right? Before you found out about the 2nd kazait. Okay, Amar Rava says, Hevi korban al rishon, right? Rishon v'sheni mitkaprim. You bring a korban on the first kezait of chelev, and that's going to be how do you call it? Mitkaper, the first and second one. Hashlishi, the third kezait that you were just eating, is not mitkaper. Hevi korban hashlishi, if you brought it on the third one, so the third one and the second one are mitkaperim, right? But the first one is not mitkaper. If you brought a korban on the middle one, nitkapru kulan, everything is a kapara. Okay, so it comes out that's what Rava actually holds. So one more time, right? You ate 3 kizete chelev, 3 kizaits, the first 2, right, in one shot, and then you found out only about one of them. Right? For example, I ate 2 kizetim. All of a sudden, somebody comes and he says, do you know that kizait, one of those kizetim that you just ate was chelev? So I found out about one of them. Now what happened was I went and I ate a third one, right? So now, right, without knowing from the second one, meaning the first one I already found out about. So it's a different sipur already. But now with the second one that I didn't find out about, I now ate a third one. So now comes Rava and he says something incredible. He says, if you brought a korban on the first one, so the first one and the second one is atoned, but they were connected. I ate it in one shot. The third one is not atoned. Okay? If you brought a korban on the third one and second one is atoned. Because the second one, I still didn't find out that I ate the chelev yet. So the second one, I still didn't know about it. And the third one, I didn't know about it. So therefore, they connect. So 2 and 3 now combine. If I brought it, but number 1 is not atoned for. If I brought a korban on the middle one, everything's atoned. Because the middle one connects to the first one, because you ate it at the same time. And it connects to the third one, because I didn't know about it. Because I didn't know about the second one, and I didn't know about the third one. Okay? So Abaye says, Afilu evi korban al echad me'en, itkapru kulan. According to Shittat Abaye, doesn't matter which one you bring. You brought a korban on 1, doesn't matter if it was number 1, 2, or 3, they're all atoned. So it comes out that according to Abaye, you hold of Greda, which means I brought 1 korban, it's going to count on all the other ones. But according to Rava, it's not true. It all depends what your intention of the korban was. Which korban are you bringing it for? So answers the Gemara, Bata d'shamim Abaye savra. No, you're right. After Rava hold the svara of Abaye, which means the concept of Abaye of Greda, he agreed to Abaye. That means even though here Rava said all these halachot, he actually agreed to Abaye. And therefore, in what we mentioned before, the Ketzida is Goreret Ketzida, and Tchina is Goreret Tchina, Rava also agrees with that because he agreed to Abaye afterwards. So ask the Gemara, Ihachi, if you hold of Greda, Tchina nami tigarele Tchina. And that was Abaye. Abaye argued on Rava on the beginning of the daf because he said that just like Ketzida is Goreret Ketzida, so Tchina is inside of it as well. So if you brought 1 Ketzida, right, 1 korban on the Ketzida connected to the other Ketzida, that Ketzida had Tchina, and the other Tchina was also involved, just like Abaye said. So why did he say, no, 1 Tchina stays by itself. 1 grinding stays by itself, and therefore it's separate. So he says, Greda itle, Greda de Greda letle. He holds of Greda, but not Greda de Greda, which means if it's not 1 step removed, if it's just the Ketzida connecting to Ketzida, or eating the chelev with the other chelev, that connects, that combines. But for me to connect Ketzida to Ketzida, and then I had Tchina beside it, now to connect that Tchina that was already connected because of the Ketzida, to connect it downwards again to another Tchina, that's double. We don't do double dips. No double dipping here. Okay, you could do it single, yes, but no double dipping. That's what he's saying. Okay? So, Gerera itle, Gerera de Gerera letle. So says the Gemara, Milta de Pshita lehu la Abaye veRava mibai le Rabbi Zira. Do you know that something that was that pashut, Abaye veRava, that Zedon Shabbat v'shigam melachot, and Zedon melachot v'shikot Shabbat is considered helem echat, was actually a safek of Rabbi Zira. The Abaye Rabbi Zira and Rabbi Zira asked this question from Rabbi Yassi. Some people say that he asked Rabbi Yirmiyah from Rabbi Zira. Katzar v'tachan chetzi grogere b'shikagat Shabbat v'zedon melachot. When a person did Ketzida u'tchina, if a person did Ketzida v'tchina, which means grinding and reaping, half of a grugeret, right? B'shigagat Shabbat zedon melachot. Meaning you forgot it was Shabbat, but you knew it was a melacha. V'chazar v'katzav v'tachan, and again you did the exact same thing, half a grugeret, v'zedon Shabbat v'shigagat melachot, knowing it was Shabbat, but you didn't know. So this is the exact same case that we brought down before with Rav and Abaye. There was only one difference here. Here was half a grugeret. There was a full grugeret on each one. But it says, Maushi Tzarfu, do they combine together or not? So Amalei, he told them, Ravasi answered, right? Right? Or Rabbi Yirmiyah from Rabbi Zira. So it was either Rabbi Yirmiyah answering, Rabbi Zira answering, because maybe it was Rabbi Yirmiyah that asked this question from Rabbi Zira. So Amalei comes and he tells him, Chalukim lechataot lo mitztarfin. It says to be chayav a chatat, right? What happens is they're not mitztaref to the shiur, right? Which means to obligate a chiyuv chatat on every single individual one, we don't do it because we're not mitztaref. So says the Gemara, which means that they do not combine, because it's half and a half, so they don't combine. So ask the Gemara, if there's going to be different chataot, they're not mitztaref to bring one korban chatat, right? Is that so? That's what you just said. You just said that the fact that it's only half a grugeret and half it's not mitztaref. He says, that's so? He says, Vatnam, we learned in the Mishnah in Kritut. Achal chelev vechelev be'elem echad. If you ate chelev and chelev in one shot, again, you're talking about two different kazatim. Eno chayav elachat. You have one chatat. Achal chelev v'dam v'notaru pigul. If you ate prohibited fats, blood, leftover food from the korban, or pigul, which means you had the improper mindset when bringing the korban, be'elem echad, one shot, chayav kol echad echad. You can be chayav on every single one, another korban. This is a stringency because there's different species and from one species, which means if it was one species, it combines. The fact that the different species was here, it's chelev, dam, notar, pigul, so then you're going to be chayav on every single one individual. However, there's also stringency in one species more than other ones. As if it was the same species and you ate half a kazait and then another half a kazait, you're going to be mitchayav, you're going to be mitztarfim. Mishne minim, if it's going to be two different species, patur, you're going to be patur. So there's a stringency on each one. On one species more than multiple species, the stringency is that they combine. So you ate half a kazait and half a kazait combines one chatat, but they combine. If you ate half a kazait of dam, half a kazait of chelev, half a kazait of, it doesn't combine. They're different species. However, though, there's also stringency in different species, more than one species. If you ate two kazaits of chelev, one korban, you didn't know about it, and it was two kazitim of the same avirah. But if you ate one kazait of dam, one kazait of chelev, one kazait of pigul, one kazait of notar, you chayav on every single one. It's a different species. So each one has a chumrah. So v'avinam bas, we're going to ask a question. Did you have to tell me that if you right now came and you ate two half kizitim, you're going to be chayav? You have to actually even say that? Obviously, you're going to be chayav chatat. So says the Shakish in the name of Bartutni. What are we dealing with? No, you ate in two different plates, which means you ate half a kazait tzli, like roasted, and half a kazait cooked. Rabbi Yeshua Yidamar and Rabbi Yeshua holds tamchuyim mechalkim, that they separate. The fact that it was like cooked differently, so that they don't combine. Meaning, but as if it was the exact same thing, what's the difference? Imagine right now I'm going to have half a meatball and another half a meatball. The other day it's the same meatball, right? What's the difference? No, if one is roasted and one is cooked, it's like a different entity. It's a different species, according to what the Shakish just said right now.
But if I have, excuse me, Rav.
Yeah.
But if I have to do a bracha on it, it will be the same bracha, even if it's two entities, as you understand. If I eat...
I'm going to tell you that to do with Hilchot Brachot and Shabbat, they're two completely different concepts.
Okay.
It's still, for example, I'll give you an example. There's a machloket, right, in this, but to do with borer, there's a machloket, is the chicken, right? Is that considered different species or the same species? Because one of them is a chicken leg, and one of them is the thigh, and one of them is the breast, and one of them is which means that the one has its own name, right? Mm-hmm. Own entity. Or the same thing, for example, to do with if it's the same beracha, right? But in the same pot. So, for example, let's say I have potatoes and or different vegetables, right? Like mixed vegetables. and I have my meatballs and the mixed vegetables on Friday night. Can I come now and separate what I don't want from what I want in the vegetables? Because I make the same bracha of hadama. Saying the bracha does not, to do with the Hilchot Shabbat, the bracha does not change of that it's the same species or not the same species. So the same thing is over here, which means, okay, it could be the same bracha, but anything which comes from the ground is shakol, but it's not the same species. I'm not going to say meat and chicken is the same. I make shakol, or meat and milk is the same, or cheese. I make a shakol, or eggs. The berachot is a special din in itself. I'm going to make a certain type of a blessing on everything which is in this category. But to do with the Hilchot Shabbat, or to do with other halachot as well, depends which halachot, usually we go by whether it's difference in name, difference in species, difference in even the way that it's cooked, right? Because why do you think? If you come and you have, meat which is roasted, meat which is cooked, sweet and sour, regular, spicy, each one is a separate entity in itself, according to the Shita. That's what we're saying, Yoshua.
Okay.
Okay, no, but it's a good question. I'm saying because it was a good, but not with Hilchot Shabbat. Hilchot Shabbat and Berachot are two different entities. So it says...
Thank you.
It could be the same beracha, but different hana'ah.
Right, it's the same beracha, but a different hana'ah. It's like a different benefiting from it. So it's a different dish, right? It's a different dish. You understand? Some people hate sweet and sour. Some people love it. And some people just want the regular. Some people don't. Some people want like when it's roasted. Some people like when it's cooked. Some people, you understand? So each one is different halachot. Okay? So it says, Ma'udetema, I would have thought to say, Amar Yoshua came and he said, Ben lekula, ben lechumra, which means eating these two different types of tafshilim, that you ate half a kazait and half a kazait. Part of it, whether it's roasted and part of it which was cooked, it was whether it's lekula or lechumra, right? That they're completely separate entities. Hamashmalan comes to teach you, no, the lekula lo amar ken. He didn't say that lekula, only lechumra, which means even though each one of them has half a kazait, you're still going to be chayav chatat nifredet on every single one, right? Because if there's no kazait, right, only by both of them, they are going to be mitzaref, which means to do with combining to be chayav a chatat, we combine them. But the other way around, if you ate them both together, right? The other way around. I said it opposite. To do with having half a kazait and half a kazait, right? What happens is that even though each one only has, even though each one will have a kazait, you're going to be chayav chatat separately when you do combine them. Okay? So a half and a half, even though one's roasted and one's cooked, I combine them according to Rabbi Yeshua to bring one chatat. But if I ate a kazait, a full kazait, and a full kazait, I need two different korbanot. But they don't combine. Okay? Meaning that it's two separate entities. Okay? Not that in the combining, because combining you only need when you have half and half. But it means that they are like one whole. Okay? So says the Gemara, now that we just say that there's a difference between the chataot and they're going to be mitzaref, right? Do we actually say that? So Amalei, he says, more reisha matnila, right? The Rav taught this words of Resh Lakish at the beginning, right? That when it was one species, you're going to be chayav. And he had this question. Ananas seifa matnina la, do we learn this on the seifa? Velo kashali, and we didn't have the question from two different species that you're going to be patur, tzich alamim, do you have to say it? It says Shakish Bartutni. Leolam Minechad, we're talking about one species. My catalyst, why are we calling it two different species? Because you ate it two different ways. One cooked and one roasted, for example. Or one ala esh. Ala esh is a completely different taste. And when you do a barbecue, it's a completely different taste than if it's going to be cooked or roasted or whatever it is. So it comes to teach you, Dam of Yeshua says of Yeshua, Ben lekula, ben lechumra, doesn't matter whether it's lekula, or lechumra, it's going to be the same halacha. Okay, and therefore, this says the Gemara, the seifa, miminechad. If the seifa is talking about from one species of isur, but just cooked in two different ways, shnetam chuyin, ayin aleph amud bet, miklal the reisha. So it comes out that the reisha then, right, is going to be from minechad etan chuyechad. Minechad etan chuyechad sicha lememar. So you have to say it that if it's one species and one type of cooking, meaning if it's one species, they're both meatballs, right, and they're both cooked in the same way. So you need to say it at all. So answers the Gemara. Rav Huna says, what are we dealing with? For example, Shaitalo Yidiyah ben a time. You found out in between them. That means you found out in between the two different halves. And it's according to Shitat Rabbi Gamliel, Damar en yidiyah lechetzi shiur. According to him, there's no such thing as yidiyah for chetzi shiur. And therefore, it's not a yidiyah to differentiate between the shigagot. So therefore, if I ate half and I found out about it, and then I ate another half and I found out about it, it still combines. Because the yidiyah between, since the yidiyah, the knowledge, the knowing that I did the averah was only on a half, it still combines together because it doesn't separate. Okay? And with this, we get to the two dots, right, on Ayin Aleph Amud Bet. Okay, so Kal Kadosh, we're continuing with Ayin Aleph Amud Bet, the two dots, which is going to be 2, 4, 5 lines down. Itmar, it was stated. Okay, so the Gemara is going to speak about the case where a person did two things accidentally, behelem echad, which means in one shot, okay, and then you found out about each one individually, separately. So Itmar was stated, Achal shne zeteh chelev behelem echad. If you ate two kazetim in one shot, v'noda lo al harishon, they only told you about the first one. Meaning I had two different, let's say, foods. Yeah? They looked the exact same. It was 2 plates of spaghetti and meatballs, bolognese, yeah? Whatever you want. I ate the first one, I ate the second one. Somebody comes to me and says, that was chelev. So again, I ate 2, but I was only told, right, about the first one. And then I was told separately about the second one, which means they said, I ate chelev. What am I going to do? 10 minutes later, somebody comes and he says, by the way, you ate that plate? That was also chelev. So now it comes out, it was 2 different, I found out different times. So Rabbi Yochanan says, chayav shtayim. I have to bring 2 different chataot, 2 different sin offerings. Because since I found out about the Evirah separately, so each one obligated a different korban. The Shakish says, 1. Eno chayav elachat. You're only going to be chayav 1 korban chatat. Okay? Now, there's going to be a whole thing here. So let's see. Rabbi Yochanan wants to bring a makor to where does he learn this? Why does Rabbi Yochanan say chayav? At the end of the day, I ate it at the same time. It was one after another. It's true I only found out about it later on, and I found out different times, but it was at the same time. Rabbi Yochanan amar chayav, but it says in the pasuk, al chatato vehevi, which means when it says al chatato, it's mashmad on every single sin, you have to bring a korban by itself. So therefore, if you found out about one of them, so you have to bring a korban. Then you found out about the second one, so you have to bring now a second korban. That is the shita of Rabbi Yochanan. The Shakish Amar Patur. Rabbi Shakish says, no, you're exempt. Why? It said over there, mechatato, right? V'nislach lo. What does it mean, mechatato v'nislach lo? From the word mechatato, it's mashma that even if you're going to bring a korban on niktsat mechatato, on part of an avera, you're going to be forgiven on the entire thing. So this teaches you that the fact that you were notified on each one by itself, one chatat is going to be mechaper on everything. And that's why mechatato, on part of his sin. So therefore, I'm going to bring 1 korban chatat, and that's going to purify me or atone me for part of the sin here and part of the sin there. Okay? So now the Gemara is going to ask, but the Shakish, according to the Shakish, haktiv it's written al chatato vehevi, meaning what do each one of themselves, whether it's Rabbi Yochanan or the other one, how do they do for the other side around? So it says, the Shakish haktiv it's written al chatato vehevi. So it says, no. He says, hahu leachar kapara. The Shakish is talking about that pasuk is after the kapara, which means after you found out about the second one, after you already brought the chatat, right? And now it was a kapara, then according to everybody, you have to bring another chatat. Which means, again, one more time, I ate 2 sandwiches, one after another. I found out later that the first one was chelev, not kosher, prohibited fats. So I have to bring a korban. Then I found out that the second one was also the same thing. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you have 2 chatat. According to the Shakish, 1 chatat. And each one brought a proof from the pasuk. So says the Gemara, what does the Shakish do with the proof of Rabbi Yochanan? Al chatato vehevi, on his sin, and he has to bring it, which means on every single individual sin. Says that Shakish, no. You know what the explanation is? If I was told that the first one was chelev, and I brought the chatat already, after bringing the chatat, I found out that also the second one was chelev. According to everybody, I have to bring a second chatat. And the reason why is because since I already did the atonement on the first one, I can't do a double dip anymore. I can't say that original korban also helped for this one, so it doesn't help. It doesn't work. Okay? Next, Rabbi Yochanan, what does he do now with Resh Lakish? Well, Rabbi Yochanan Nami, and according to Rabbi Yochanan also, when it says, HaKetiv, it's written, Mechatato v'nislach lo. What does it mean when it says, Mechatato v'nislach lo? Right, which is mashma, that even if you do bring a korban on part of the chatat, right, you are going to be forgiven. And you don't have to bring it on each one individually, right? So, hacha ma'eskina, what are we dealing with? Sha'achal kezait u'mechza, v'nodalo al kezait. Which means that according to Rabbi Yochanan, he's talking about where, for example, you ate a kezait and a half. And then they only told you that a full kezait was of chelev. And half a kezait you don't know. Then, chazar ve'achal b'chatzi zait, achar be'arait acher, palamos shel sheni. Then you ate another half a kezait, okay, when you still don't know about the other half. So therefore, mahu detema, I would have thought to say litztarfu, that they're going to combine together, right? The half a kezait, the second, right? The half kezait from the beginning, and the half a kezait, the two half kezites to the kezait at the beginning. Okay, Kamash Malan comes to teach you that they're not mitzaref, which means that the yidiyah is dividing in between them. Because if you would have known only on the one kezait at the beginning, and you didn't know about the next half, right, you would have only brought one chatat on the kezait. And therefore, it would have been a kapara, the first half, that was a separate one, right? Which means that even though the general rule is the chatat is not mechaper on a sin which you don't know about it, but that's only if it has a shiud shalem. If it has half a shiud, it is mechaper. So one more time, according to Rabbi Yochanan, what is he saying? According to Rabbi Yochanan, he's saying, no. What we're talking about is a case where you ate 1.5 kezitim. They only told you about one kezait that it was wrong. It was bad. It was not kosher. It was prohibited fats. The other half was okay. We don't know about it. I have no idea. Then you come and you eat another half. You don't need a full kezait, another half a kezait. So now I would have thought to say that when you right now came and you brought the chatat on the first kezait, the first half was also atoned for. Why? It was 1.5. You should only atone for that one, not for the other half. It says no. Because if it was a full one, it doesn't atone for it. But if it's a half, that first chatat, even though I didn't know about the second half, right, that this half was not good, I didn't know about it at the time, it still atones. And therefore, explains Rabbi Yochanan, I would atone for it. What's going to happen now is that when I have that one, I have one chatat. The other half was combined to that. Now, when I eat the other half, I don't combine that together. Since I don't combine, you only bring one chatat. You don't have to bring two. And that's what Rabbi Yochanan says is the explanation in this pasuk, according to what Resh Lakish wanted to bring a proof to himself, and he's saying it to himself. So, Amale Ravina the Ravashi says, Ravina to Ravashi, Tityadele kodem afrasha plige, right? Do we say that the machloka between Rabbi Yochanan and Resh Lakish is in a case where you found out about the second eating before you separated the chatat, meaning you didn't designate the animal as a korban? Uveha pligin, this is a machloke between them. That Rabbi Yochanan, the more savar Rabbi Yochanan holds, yediot mechalkot, which means the fact that you know about the avera, it divides now and it splits up between the korbanot, right? And therefore, if it was done after you already knew about the first one, even though, right, you did it at the same time, it divides it. Umor savar, and according to Rabbi Yochanan, Resh Lakish, he holds a frashot mechalkot. The designating and the separating of the animal is what divides the two. Okay, but the knowledge between them does not divide the two. Aval, however, though, leachar, if it's going to be after separating the animal, model Resh Lakish Rabbi Yochanan, Resh Lakish agrees to Rabbi Yochanan, leachar, right, the chayav shtayim, that you're going to be chayav two chataot, because you already designated the animal. Meaning, according to the Shakish, if you already designated this animal for the chatat, it was the chatat for the first one, maybe now even a Shakish agrees that you need another chatat. Or Dilma, or maybe, that only if it's done after separating the animal, that is a machloket between Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish. Ubehaplik, this is a machloket. More savar, according to Rabbi Yochanan, he holds hafrashot mechalkot, the fact that you said designated animal, that in itself divides between the two, and you would be obligated two different korbanot. However, and Resh Lakish holds kaparot mechalkot, the actual kapara. There's no kapara until you don't bring the animal. So even if you designate an animal, what do I care? There's no atonement until you don't bring it, you don't offer it to the sacrifice. Aval, however, though, kolam afrasha, before you designate an animal, Rabbi Yochanan agrees to Resh Lakish, you're not going to be chayav only once. Odilma, maybe the machlok is in both cases. Before afrasha and after afrasha, maybe it's in both. So we have three different possibilities, right? That's what we're asking. So Amalei, so Ravashi comes and he answers. Mistabra, it's logical to say ben bezo machlok. The machlok is in both cases. Whether before afrasha or after afrasha, before you designated the animal or after you designated the animal, same machlok between Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish. Right? But if you're going to tell me kodem afrasha plige, that the machloket between Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish is before you designated the animal, but after you designated the animal, the Shakish agrees to Rabbi Yochanan, right? That you're going to be chayav too. Adamokim lekra le'achar kapara. Why are you telling me that the pasuk is talking about after the atonement? Look me le'achar afrasha. Maybe it's just after designation of the animal. Ve'i achar afrasha plige. Now, if you're going to go the other way, turn it the other way, side around, and you're going to tell me that we're talking about after designating the animal. However, though, before designating the animal, Rabbi Yochanan agrees to the Shakish that it's going to be one animal, one chatat, right? Why are you saying that the pasuk is talking about one kezait and a half, right? Because that was the case. You remember, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it was one kezait and a half, and then another half. And we said that you don't combine. Look me kulam afrasha. What do we just say? It's before afrasha, right? Which means that it's much more pashut, right? So therefore, because of that, we're going to say that Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish are arguing whether it was before afrasha, before designating the animal, or after designating the animal, the same machloket. Rabbi Yochanan says two animals, two chataot. The Shakish says one chatat. Until here, we're clear? You can unmute yourself if you want.
Okay, yes.
Yeah? Okay, very good. So says the Gemara, Dilma mesapuke mesafkale. Maybe be'emet, we actually have that doubt, which means maybe the ones which are organizing the Gemara had the doubt in the Shakish and Rabbi Yochanan. What was the case really, be'emet? And what are they arguing? V'imtim tzalomar kamar, and it's a doubt. That's why they're asking the question, which means imtim tzalomar kodem afrasha plige. If you're going to tell me that there's a machlok between Rabbi Yochanan and Shakish before designating the animal, right? So Rabbi Yochanan hechimu kulilekra because I'm a mechza. You're going to tell me that Rabbi Yochanan is talking about, the pasuk is talking about because I'm mechza. The imtim tzalomar, right? And therefore, if you're going to tell me that it's after afrasha is the machloket, after you designate an animal, the Shakish hechimu kulilekra. What is the Shakish telling you that what the pasuk is on? Milachar kapara? Or are you going to tell me that it's going to be after the kapara? Which means that was the doubt of the Gemara. We are asking that question. We're not sure. Okay? So because of that, right, we just leave it off like that. And then now the Gemara is going to say Amar Ula, according to Ula. Says Ula, Leman da Amar Hasham Vadai, according to the Mandamar that says that you need an Hasham Vadai, Lo Baya Yediyah Betchila, you don't need Yediyah at the beginning. Remember, an Hasham Vadai is any Korban Hasham, which is not an Hasham Talui, is called Hasham Vadai. Hasham Talui means I did a guilt offering, I did it purposely, right? Because remember, Chatat is only accidentally, right? Not knowing, right? But an Hasham is a guilt offering, I did it purposely. So there's Hasham Talui. Hasham Talui means that I don't know if I did the Avirah or I didn't do the Avirah. The Avirah is pending. So since maybe I did the Avirah, so I bring an Hasham Talui, which means it's pending, it's depending, right? However, the Hasham Vadai is anything which is not an Hasham Talui. It becomes automatically Vadai, which means for sure I did the Avirah. So says the...
And this is only for karet also, like the chatat, as you say?
Yes, or, only if you do it purposely, it's karet, and accidentally, it's chatat.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so an Hasham Talui is a Hasham which is coming on a safek, that if you did the Avirah, it's going to be karet, and if you did by accident, it's going to be a chatat. That's called, okay, so anything which is not an Hasham Talui is called an Hasham Vadai. So what are you obligated on Hasham Vadai? It says here there's only going to be 3 Avirot that you're going to be a Hasham Vadai. Hasham Milot, which means if you went and you used the properties of Ekdesh by accident. So besides paying Keren v'chomesh, which is the principal and additional fifth, you have to bring in Asham Meilot, right? Because you did Me'ilah. Me'ilah means you benefited from Ekdesh. You benefited from the consecrated properties. This applies even nowadays. If you benefit from church or religious or synagogues, right, and you took a religious benefit from it, this is called Me'ilah. You took benefit from it, okay? Number 2 is Asham Gezelot. Asham Gezelot means you swore falsely on money. Somebody gave you money to watch over. Then you come afterwards, you say, I don't have anything. What are you talking about? I swear. He swore. That's called Asham Gezelot, which means that it's either on a halva, on a loan, Gezela, on theft, or pikadon, or a security. So whether you stole from me, and then I tell you, what are you doing? He swears, I don't have anything of yours. Or a loan. I gave you a loan. You don't want to pay back. You never lent me money. He swore. Or even stealing. Doesn't matter. So stealing, loan, or pikadon, security. Right? I gave you a security. Please watch over this. I'm going out of town or that, whatever. Watch over this. And then you swore. You never gave me anything. In those 3 cases, you have to do Asham Gezelot. The third one, right? And then you actually retracted and you did agree that you swore falsely. So you have to bring Asham Gezelot. The third one is Asham Shivcha Charufa. Sham Shivcha Charufa means that if you have relations with a Shivcha Kanaanit, a Shivcha Kanaanit is basically a Goya, that she's a Shivcha, she's a maidservant. Right? She's like your cleaning lady. And then, but she's designated for an Eved Ivri. Because an Eved Ivri gets married to a Shivcha. So what happens is that there's a whole question over there, and then you have relations with her. So in such a case, you're obligated to Sham Shivcha Charufa. She doesn't have 100% a din of Eshet Ish of a married woman, right? It says over here, because there's no Kiddushin Tofsim by Shivcha Kanaanit, right? So therefore, that's why it says it's going to be Chayav and Hasham Vadai. Okay, there's other cases also Hasham Vadais, whether it's a Nazir, right? A Nazir offering Metzorah, right? Also, so there are certain ones. Okay, fine. So says the Gemara, Amar Ula says, according to the Mandamar Hasham Vadai, that if by an Hasham Vadai you don't need Yediyah Betchila, which means you didn't need, a person could bring an Hasham Vadai even though during the time of the Korban, it was still not known his sin. That means even though he didn't know that he sinned, he could still bring an Hasham Vadai. Baal Chamesh Beilot B'Shivcha Charufa Enochayav Alachat. So if he had 5 times relations with this Shivcha Charufa, and he found out about his sin between each one, so he's only going to be Chayav one Hasham for all of them. Okay, obviously we're going to have to explain why, but this is going to be for tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem, which means for Sunday.